In our modern world, life has become full of noise. We are surrounded by screens, messages, and endless choices. We are told that more is better. More things, more goals, more experiences. But often, this creates a kind of hunger that never ends. The more we reach, the more we feel that something is missing. It is in this restlessness that we forget the simple heart of living. Returning to simplicity does not mean giving up everything. It means returning to what truly matters. When we simplify, we begin to see again. We notice the light through the window in the morning, the warmth of tea in our hands, the quiet rhythm of our breath. These small ordinary things are not small at all. They are the foundation of peace. Many people think wisdom is something far away, something to be gained through effort or learning. But true wisdom is already here, hidden beneath the layers of noise and desire. When we remove what is unnecessary, wisdom begins to shine naturally, like a mirror wiped clean. To return to simplicity is to return to balance. It is not an escape from the world, but a way to stand within it without being carried away. Each moment offers a choice, to complicate or to soften. The gentle art of simplicity invites us to choose softness, to breathe, to see clearly, and to live with a lighter heart. When life feels heavy, it is often because we are carrying too much. Simplicity asks us to put some of it down. In that act, we discover something beautiful. What we have been looking for was never lost. It was simply waiting beneath the noise, quietly, all along. As life becomes more complex, our hearts begin to feel heavy. We add layers of thought, worry, and expectation to everything we do. We tell ourselves that to be busy is to be useful, that to plan every detail is to be safe. Yet the more we try to control life, the more tangled it becomes. Complexity does not always bring clarity. Often, it builds walls around the heart, making it harder to feel peace. The heart is simple by nature. It understands honesty, kindness, and presence. But when we fill it with too many concerns, it becomes cloudy, like a pond disturbed by constant movement. In such moments, we lose touch with what truly matters. We stop hearing the quiet voice inside that knows what is right. People sometimes believe that a complicated life is a sign of success. Many tasks, many plans, many possessions. All these seem to show that one's life is full. But fullness is not the same as wholeness. A cup can be full of water and yet be too heavy to lift. In the same way, our lives can be full but without meaning. To clear the heart, we do not need to run away. We simply need to pause and look honestly at what we carry. Which thoughts, habits, or desires truly serve us? Which ones only add confusion? When we begin to see this difference, space appears inside us, a space where peace can grow again. The simple heart is not an empty one. It is alive, awake, and ready to meet life as it is. When we allow complexity to fade, even a small act, a breath, a glance, a smile, becomes clear and whole. This clarity is the beginning of freedom. We often wait for special moments to feel alive, a celebration, a journey, a new beginning. Yet life is mostly made of ordinary days. Morning light, a quiet meal, the sound of rain, the touch of wind on the face. These are the true fabric of our existence. When we overlook them, we overlook life itself. In the rush to achieve and to move forward, we forget that the present moment is already complete. We tell ourselves, I will rest when things are finished. But things are never truly finished. The next task, the next goal, the next plan always appears. If we cannot find peace in an ordinary moment, we will not find it in a perfect one either. Ordinary moments teach us to be humble. They remind us that we do not need to be great to be grateful. When we wash a cup, fold a blanket, or walk down a familiar street, we can do it with awareness and care. These small acts, done with attention, create quiet dignity. The world does not need to be grand for it to be sacred. Sometimes people think that meaning comes only from big experiences, but meaning is not measured by size, it is measured by presence. When we are truly here, even the simplest act becomes bright. To see the ordinary as precious is to open the heart to the fullness of living. If we learn to meet each moment as if it were the first and the last, we discover something deep and soft within ourselves, a sense of home. In the end, it is not the extraordinary that saves us, but our ability to see the extraordinary within the ordinary. Many people see routine as something dull or restrictive. They wish for excitement, change, and newness. Yet beneath the surface, routine holds a quiet power. It offers rhythm to life, a steady heartbeat that keeps us grounded. When we repeat simple acts each day, we create stability in a world that is always shifting. Routine can be a form of peace. It reminds us that life does not always need to surprise us to be meaningful. The morning cup of tea, the daily walk, the evening moment of stillness, these are gentle anchors. They bring balance between effort and rest. When we meet these moments with care, they begin to shape the quality of our heart. Some people fear that doing the same thing every day means becoming mechanical. But the truth is the opposite. When we bring awareness to repetition, it becomes alive. Each morning is not the same as the last. Each day's light, sound, and breath are slightly different. Routine is not sameness. It is a dance between change and continuity. In a world that celebrates speed and novelty, routine teaches patience. It shows us that deep strength grows quietly, not through constant excitement, but through steady attention. The small acts we perform every day, cleaning, preparing, listening, are not separate from spiritual life. They are spiritual life, expressed through the ordinary. When we embrace routine, we learn that discipline is not a cage, but a doorway. It helps us stay close to what matters, even when emotions rise and fall. The quiet power of routine is the ability to return, again and again, to the heart of living, with calmness, humility, and care. Repetition is often misunderstood. Many people believe that repeating the same actions makes life boring or lifeless. Yet in truth, repetition reveals beauty that only patience can see. When we repeat something, a task, a word, or a gesture, it becomes a mirror. It shows us our state of mind. If we are restless, repetition feels heavy. If we are calm, repetition becomes music. Think of the ocean waves. Each one rises and falls in the same motion, yet none are truly identical. The rhythm is constant, but within it, infinite variety exists. The same is true for our lives. Each day, we wake, eat, work, and rest. But the meaning within those actions depends on how we meet them. If we look closely, we will notice that no two moments are ever the same. Repetition also teaches humility. It reminds us that wisdom does not grow from doing new things all the time, but from doing familiar things with a clear heart. A potter shapes clay again and again before it becomes smooth. A calligrapher writes the same line thousands of times before it flows naturally. The beauty lies not in the result, but in the quiet dedication of the doing. When we repeat simple acts, sweeping the floor, lighting a candle, opening a door, we return to ourselves. We learn steadiness. We see that peace is not found in what changes, but in what continues. Through repetition, we polish the mirror of our mind. Slowly, what once felt dull begins to shine. The beauty of repetition is that it allows us to grow without forcing anything. It softens us, teaches us patience, and shows us that life's most profound truths are not discovered once, but lived over and over, until they become part of who we are. So much of life's wisdom is not about finding something new, but about learning to see what has always been before us. We spend years searching for meaning, chasing after knowledge, and reaching for distant goals, yet the truth often waits quietly in the things we overlook, the familiar, the ordinary, the near. These are the places where clarity hides. When we look at the same view every day, we may stop truly seeing it. The tree outside our window, the path we walk, the sound of evening, all become invisible through habit. But when we pause, when we let our eyes and heart open without expectation, something changes. The same tree becomes alive again. Its color, its shape, its silence begin to speak. Nothing has changed, yet everything feels new. Learning to see what was always there requires stillness. Not the stillness of doing nothing, but the stillness of being fully present. We begin to realize that the world has always been offering itself to us, gently and patiently. It is we who were too busy to listen. There is a quiet joy in rediscovering what we once ignored. It reminds us that life does not need to be improved to be beautiful. It only needs to be noticed. When we stop trying to grasp, when we simply let things be as they are, they reveal their natural grace. The heart that learns to see in this way becomes soft and clear. It no longer divides the world into special and ordinary. It understands that every breath, every moment, every encounter carries the same light. What was always there, the simple truth of being, finally becomes visible. There is a quiet strength in learning to live with less. Our culture often tells us that more brings happiness, more success, more belongings, more activity. Yet the more we fill our lives, the less space we have to breathe. The heart, like a room, cannot feel peaceful when it is crowded. When we choose less, we do not lose. We gain clarity. We begin to see what truly supports our well-being and what only distracts us. Fewer possessions mean fewer worries. Fewer commitments mean more time to be fully alive in what remains. This is not a rule to follow, but a gentle invitation to notice how light life can feel when we stop carrying what we do not need. Having less also reveals the value of what we keep. A single bowl used with care can feel more precious than a shelf full of unused ones. A few sincere words can touch the heart more deeply than endless talk. The space that opens when we let go of excess is not empty. It is full of life, waiting to be felt. When less becomes more, our relationship with the world changes. We begin to approach things with gratitude, not hunger. We stop reaching outward for satisfaction and turn inward toward appreciation. This shift is gentle but powerful. It reminds us that the quality of life is not measured by how much we hold, but by how deeply we experience what is here. True simplicity does not mean deprivation. It means freedom. The freedom to rest, to see clearly, to live with ease. When less truly becomes more, we find that nothing essential was ever missing. We were simply too surrounded by noise to notice the quiet abundance already within us. In a world that constantly tells us to move forward, to achieve, and to always do more, stepping back can feel like failure. Yet often, true wisdom begins in the moments when we pause. To step back is not to give up. It is to see more clearly. From a distance, we begin to understand what truly matters and what only creates confusion. There is great courage in slowing down. It takes strength to say, "This is enough for now." Many people keep running, not because they know where they are going, but because they fear what will happen if they stop. But when we step back, we meet the quiet truth that busyness often hides. We realize that the world continues just fine without our constant effort, and that peace is not found in control, but in trust. Stepping back also allows us to see the whole picture. When we are too close to something, a problem, a plan, even a person, our view becomes narrow, but a small step backward can reveal what was hidden. Space brings understanding, just as silence allows music to breathe. The courage to step back is the courage to let things unfold in their own time. It is the willingness to admit that we do not always need to push, fix, or prove. Sometimes the most skillful action is no action at all. When we learn this, life begins to soften. The heart grows lighter. We no longer chase every moment. We meet it gently. To step back is to make room for wisdom to enter. And in that open space, we find something steady and kind, waiting for us. A deeper way of being, rooted in calm awareness. In a time when multitasking is praised, doing one thing at a time can seem too simple, yet in truth, it is one of the deepest ways to find peace. When we give our full attention to a single action, washing a dish, writing a letter, listening to someone, life becomes calm and whole. Our mind settles, and we begin to feel harmony between our body, thought, and heart. When we divide ourselves between many things, our energy scatters. Even when we finish, something feels incomplete. But when we focus on one act, even the smallest, it becomes complete in itself. The act and the doer become one. In that moment, we are no longer lost in the past or rushing toward the future. We are simply here. Doing one thing well is not about perfection. It is about sincerity. To care for what is in front of us is to respect life itself. Whether it is folding clothes, cooking a meal, or helping a friend, each moment deserves our full presence. Through this attention, the ordinary becomes sacred. Many people chase peace as if it were somewhere else, a place, a time, or a special state of mind. But peace is not something to be found later. It appears naturally when we stop dividing ourselves. The heart, once scattered, becomes whole again. When we do one thing well, time slows down. The rush of the world fades, and something deep within us begins to rest. This simple practice reminds us that peace is not far away. It lives in the middle of what we are already doing, waiting for us to notice it. As we grow older or more experienced, we often begin to believe we already know how things are. We rely on habit and knowledge to move through the world. Yet this confidence can quietly close the door to wonder. The beginner's mind, open, curious, and humble, is not limited by what it already knows. It looks at life as if seeing it for the first time. To rediscover this mind is to become alive again. It means allowing each moment to be fresh, even the ones we have lived 1,000 times before. The morning sky, a familiar face, the sound of footsteps, all can appear new when we drop our assumptions. This openness does not make us foolish. It makes us free. The beginner's mind trusts experience more than opinion. It listens before it judges. It asks, "What is truly here?" instead of saying, "I already understand." When we live this way, we meet life directly, not through the filter of expectation. Everything becomes a teacher. Success and failure, joy and sorrow, silence and sound. In many ways, wisdom is not about gaining more knowledge, but about unlearning what closes the heart. The beginner's mind knows that mystery is not something to solve, but something to honor. It is light, flexible, and at peace with not knowing. When we rediscover this way of seeing, we find that life has always been speaking softly to us. The rustle of leaves, the taste of water, the warmth of another's presence, all become new again. The beginner's mind reminds us that every breath is a beginning, and every beginning is full of possibility. In that awareness, the world becomes endlessly alive. Many people spend their lives chasing after what they believe will bring happiness, wealth, recognition, or comfort. Yet even when these things are gained, the feeling of satisfaction often fades quickly. True contentment does not come from what we add to our lives, but from how we meet what is already here. It begins in the small things. To be content is not to settle for less. It is to see that enough already exists. A quiet meal, the laughter of a friend, the simple act of waking up in the morning. These are not trivial. They are gifts that arrive every day, waiting to be noticed. When we learn to value them, our hearts begin to rest. The path of contentment is gentle. It asks us to stop measuring life by comparison. Someone else's success or possessions do not lessen our own peace. Each life has its own rhythm, and each moment carries its own light. When we stop looking outward for approval, we begin to discover an inner richness that cannot be taken away. Gratitude and contentment are close companions. When we are grateful, even the smallest thing shines. The sound of rain, the scent of wood, the feeling of warm water on our hands. These simple experiences remind us that joy does not need to be dramatic. It lives quietly, in plain sight. To walk the path of contentment is to live with balance. It frees us from the hunger for more and guides us toward appreciation. When the heart is content, the world feels kind again. We no longer chase after life. We live it fully, gently, and with deep respect for the small wonders that surround us. Much of our struggle in life comes from the quiet pressure to prove ourselves, to show others that we are worthy, capable, or successful. We measure our days by how we appear to the world, rather than by how we truly feel inside. Yet the more we try to prove, the further we move from peace. The heart cannot rest while it is busy performing. There comes a time when we begin to ask, to whom am I proving anything? When we look closely, we see that this need often comes from fear, the fear of being unseen, unloved, or forgotten. But life does not demand that we perform. It only asks that we be real. When we release the need to prove, we return to the quiet honesty of being ourselves. Living without this pressure does not mean we stop growing or caring. It means our actions are no longer driven by comparison or pride. We work, create, and help others not to be noticed, but because it feels natural and right. Our energy becomes cleaner, lighter. The joy of doing replaces the anxiety of proving. In this freedom, even small actions hold deep meaning. A kind word, a patient silence, a task done with sincerity, these become our expression of truth. There is no competition in authenticity, only clarity and ease. When we stop trying to prove our worth, we begin to feel it directly. We understand that we were never lacking. The heart, no longer burdened by image or expectation, finds peace in simply existing. To live without the need to prove is to finally breathe deeply, and to know that just being, quietly and truly, is enough. We often live as if life is somewhere else, in the future we hope for, or the past we cannot forget. Our minds travel far, while our bodies remain here. But peace, understanding and true living can only exist in one place, the present moment. Returning home to it is the essence of simplicity. The present moment is not a special state we must reach. It is always here, waiting for us to notice. Yet because we are so used to rushing, we pass through it without seeing. We eat without tasting, walk without feeling the ground, speak without really hearing our own words. Life becomes thin, as if we are only watching it from a distance. To return home is to stop running. It is to feel the breath moving in and out, to see the light falling on a wall, to hear the quiet hum of the world around us. When we allow ourselves to be fully here, even for a short while, time opens, wide and gentle. What seemed ordinary becomes radiant. In the present, there is nothing missing. There is no need to chase or to fix. The heart finds rest because it no longer struggles against what is. Each moment holds its own completeness, its own quiet truth. When we learn to return again and again, not to the past, not to the future, but to now, we rediscover our true home. It is not a place we must reach, but a presence we remember. In this simple return, we find that life has always been waiting for us, patient and kind, ready to be lived fully, right here, in this very breath. The path of returning to basics is not a straight road, but a circle. We begin by seeking peace, believing it lies somewhere far away. We explore, we learn, we struggle, and in time we discover that what we were looking for was always within us. Simplicity is not about removing life's colors, but about seeing them more clearly. It is about living gently, without rushing, without pretending, and without the weight of more. Each step we take towards simplicity brings us closer to our natural rhythm. We start to trust life again. We realize that silence has its own language, that small things hold great meaning, and that presence is richer than any achievement. In this quiet understanding, the heart feels light. It no longer needs to reach. It can simply rest, open, steady, and kind. When we return to basics, we do not escape the world. We learn to stand in it with grace. We learn to meet each day, its joys, its sorrows, its changes, with calm acceptance. The circle of simplicity is complete when we understand that nothing was ever missing. Life itself, in its plain and honest form, is enough. Before I end, I wish to express my heartfelt gratitude to those who have taken a moment to listen, who have offered a like or a kind comment, who have subscribed, shared their thoughts, or supported through super thanks or membership. Your presence means more than words can say. This space exists because of your quiet kindness and your willingness to reflect together. May this simple circle continue, from my heart to yours, and from yours back into the world, carrying a gentle reminder. Peace begins not in what we gain, but in how softly we return to what has always been here.